Hi everyone, it's Miss Hill. We're going to do some POD and math review. I decided to use my whiteboard to try and make this as normal as possible or kind of make you feel good again, like you're back in school. Okay, so we're going to start with problem of the day. Carlos makes 1 pound of snack mix using nuts, raisins, and cereal. Okay, just like we closely read in ELA, we're going to do the same thing in math. I know, I'm thinking already, this is about Carlos. He's my character. He makes 1 pound. Already thinking, ooh, that's my total, my whole of snack mix using nuts, raisins, and cereal. The list below shows how many pounds of nuts and raisins he uses. Okay, again, coming back to the pounds. How many pounds? And just a reminder, boys and girls, you should already have this work done. So this is kind of like you just watching me as if I was on the document camera in our regular school day. Over here, 1/3 pound of nuts, 2/5 pound of raisins. Okay, so that's how much he's using. How much cereal in pounds does Carlos use? Okay, so I know that's my question. So I want you right now, just make sure you kind of check in. Did you annotate the pounds? Okay, we know this is about Carlos. He's making 1 pound of snack mix. Okay, and we know that within that snack mix, 1/3 pounds of nuts, 2/5 pounds of raisins. So the problem is asking me to find the total amount of pounds Carlos uses. Okay, and now I'm going to take you to the operation. So I started to think about my operation. I definitely want to add, because I want to combine the nuts and the raisins. But then I'm thinking I need to subtract from the whole because it says here he makes 1 pound. Okay? Okay, I can kind of move that away. Maybe that'll be better. Okay, so here's what I did. I have 1/3 and 2/5. I need to find a common denominator because these fractions, they are unlike. So what I did here is I listed the multiples of 3 and I listed the multiples of 5. And then I realized that the multiple 15 is something they both have in common. So I began to find a common denominator and I renamed my fraction to 5/15 and 6/15. Check in on your work. Now that they are alike, I can add them. So I have 5/15, 6/15. I added them together and I got 11/15. Now, we're not done yet, but why don't you go ahead, give yourself a few seconds to check in and check your work. Okay, next we need to subtract from the whole. So I took my whole, 15/15, and I subtracted 11/15, which is what we got over here. And I got my answer of 4/15. So Carlos uses 4/15 pounds. Go ahead and check in on your work. Okay, boys and girls, you could always watch the video again, or if you need me to send this to you, or we can even post it on Google Classroom. Let's head on over to our math review. So for our first question, it was talking about having enough pizza for every student to have 2 slices. So if there were 27 students total, I would multiply by 2 to figure out the total amount of slices, and then I would divide it by 14. And when I divided over here, you could see I got a decimal and I got a remainder. So I'm already knowing that I kind of did a little bit of rounding in here, that I would have to get 4 pies. I wouldn't get 3 because obviously 3 and 8/10 is going to be closer to 4. So I need 4 pies. Go ahead, make sure you're checking in. This should be quick. Problem number 2, they were asking us to compare 5/3 and 6/8. So when I was thinking about this, I said, which one has more? Well, 5/3 I know is an improper fraction. And I'm already thinking, oh, wait a minute, I could even make that a mixed number. Maybe 1 2/3, so I know that's greater than 6/8. Now, the next part of the question said who has more? So here I found my common denominator of 3 and 8, which equals 24, and I renamed my fraction to 40 over 24, and I renamed my fraction here. Let me box that for you. And then I subtracted because they wanted to know who has more, what was the difference. So 40 over 24 subtracted by 18 over 24, which leaves us with 22 over 24. Give yourself a check if you got it right, circle it if you got it wrong. Okay. So the next one, I drew some cubes for you guys because this was asking what was the volume of each cube, and then they wanted you to add. So cube 1, as you can see I drew here, the length was 3, the width was 1, the height was 1. Cube 2, the length was 2, the width was 1, and the height was 1. So what I did was I found the volume for each one, and then I added it together. So 3 plus 2 equals 5. And up here you'll see I put 5 to the 3rd power because that stands for that's 5 to the 3rd cubed, right? Or you could write it like this, 5 cubic units. Here we have number 4. So number 4, this problem was a little different. We have area. They gave you the total area. They gave you the length. And they wanted you to find the width. So area equals length times width, right? That is the formula. Total area equals 13 and 2/10. So I can write an equation. Length times width equals area. 2 and 2/10 times what equals 13 and 2/10. So the way, a strategy I use is I divided. So I took 2 and 2/10 and divided it by 13 and 2/10. And don't forget, when you're dividing decimals, I had to get rid of that decimal. So I just moved it over. And whatever I do here, I have to do here. And I moved it over again. And now that became 132. So my width was 6. Okay, last one, guys. Oh, 2 more, sorry. Okay, so we have 3/5 of 35. 3/5 of 35. So that is telling us to multiply. Anytime we have a whole number, we're going to put it over 1. So we will multiply 3 by 35, and you should get 105. And then you multiply the denominators. 5 times 1 equals 5. And then you divide. 5 goes into 105 21 times. And your answer is 21. Our last problem having to do with base times height, I want you to remember base is a combination of the length and the width. Then we have base equals 13, height equals 6. 13 times 6 equals 78 to the third power. So 78 cubed, you could say, or you could say 78 cubic units. And because even though it's base times height, we know the base is made up of length and width. So it still has 3 dimensions, 1, 2, and 3. All right, everybody. I hope you're checking in, and I hope you guys are enjoying POD and Math Review. Let us know if you have any questions. See you soon. Bye.